Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. Today, I want to talk about two things and do a small short video. One is about Hal Finney's predicting Bitcoin reaching 10 million per BC, and the other will be about the Bank of England's governor, Mark Carney. Now, believe it or not, Mark Carney used to work for the Canadian Central Bank, and before that, of course, Goldman Sachs, the vampire squid of the world. So you know nothing good is going to be coming from him. With that said, let's first get and jump into the topic of Hal Finney. May he rest in peace. I remember when he left his dying note. I read it. It was very inspiring. You should look it up. If not, I will try to look it up and add it to this video in the link in the description below. It's a must read. You must read his final words before he died. With that said, I noticed that Carl mentioned that, you know what, this is very interesting. Bitcoin can go up to $10 million, right? Because of the current currency, the valuation of current world's wealth is around $10 trillion, right? At 20 million coins, that works out to $10 million. Now, the problem with that is that although it might sound logical, well, we're just dividing the 20 million coins but into the amount of currency there is. The problem is that a lot of things get overpriced in our economy, and there's several ways things can get overpriced. One is people get into a large hype, and then they believe that this thing has a greater value than it should, and then and a lot of people buy into it in a frenzy because it's human nature. When you see a bunch of people running and you don't know why they're running, and there's like a crowd of people running, you just automatically run with them because there's a sense of danger that you were not aware of. The same applies for currency and money and assets and financial assets. You may not know why a particular asset is going higher. You just see the price going higher and you must follow. So that is what happens to the general public and when we have bubbles and prices. But there's another interesting way that we overprice assets is through debt, monetization. And with the combination of course, fear of missing out, of course, because without those two, you can't really do it. But basically, most people are afraid that their value of their wealth will go down, so they end up purchasing assets such as a home, cars, or rare items in order to avoid the loss of purchasing power through deflation. And what ends up happening is that people purchase these assets with debt. And so our debt-based economy, basically, we all know that debt is created debt is money being created out of nothing. So when you go to your bank and borrow money for your house, you're creating that money right then and there to buy your house. And so because that money never existed before, you're actually inflating the money supply and also inflating the price. As more people can purchase a house with more and more debt, the price becomes more and more inflated. Thus, in effect, I believe, this is my personal opinion, that an actual average house is not $500,000 in North America. It is actually just $10,000 effectively, based on the current value of labor. And that's an interesting thing about that is the value of labor actually always goes down in value because there's more and more of us, and we need less and less labor. So you have to take that into consideration. And so a house price effectively, as we get better in production, better and more people come into, you think, well, more people need a house, the more expensive it'll get. Not really. Because once we build things and produce things better and make it faster, it becomes cheaper to produce. And so effectively we'll find ways to produce a house a lot cheaper, and then the average price will come down. So consider that when you price assets in the future, because now in the future we're not going to be able to use debt, and thus a lot of assets will no longer be priced at a high price, and you're going to have to readjust this evaluation of Bitcoin. Now, that's not to say that Bitcoin will not increase in value beyond what it's expected, what the real value of it should be, is because on this journey there's going to be a significant amount of hype and craze towards that. Now, I went on a little bit on that, but hopefully you understood. One other thing I would like to talk about is the Bank of England here, where they talk about the governor Mark Carney proposes a new currency and says trade war is dampening business confidence. Well, basically, Mark Carney he has stated that they need a new cryptocurrency, basically. A new currency shortly after I mentioned, so much like Libra. He said he needs a cryptocurrency much like Libra. And this was shortly after I mentioned that Libra was going to be the cryptocurrency that the elites choose. And I'm just going to move this. Whoops. I'm going to move my video, my image away from here. And so he has stated that, we need something like the Libra. And I think they're just going to allow the Libra to exist. And, I think this is added confirmation to that statement I made yesterday on MMCrypto's video. If you haven't seen that, I will probably provide the link in the description below later on today. Now, so I think that they will definitely give us another cryptocurrency, another fiat currency, and it's going to be obviously crypto, of course, but it will be totally controlled by them. So what I believe is going to happen is both Facebook is going to push through for sure. But the interesting thing I see about Facebook, which nobody's talking about, is that one thing that they're doing with Facebook is that they're creating on a cryptocurrency that's semi-decentralized. And so they're backing it up, that actual those currencies, right, that they produce through Facebook, with a basket of other currencies. So it's effectively backed up by some other asset. Now, we've seen this movie before, right, with gold. And what these central bankers probably should be more afraid of is that what happens if Zuckerberg says, yeah, you know what, we're not going to we're going to take away the backing. People will still use it just like they used the US dollar. So after it was taken, the backing was taken from gold. Gold was taken out from the backing of the dollar. So that would be an interesting play, and I wouldn't put it past Mark Zuckerberg, because that was the plan probably was the plan all along. Especially since all these currencies are going to be collapsing. So I have to applaud Mark Zuckerberg, because I just realized that shortly now, and I think that's the plan all along. is to at first back it with national currencies, just so that they can get the approval, and then later on pull the rug out from the governments. And now they have, because now they have their own currency that people are actually using and trusting. And who cares about government currency? Wow, good one, Mark. Anyways, well, I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you found this information valuable. Thanks for watching.